Hey everybody, it's LCDR Keys, Lieutenant Commander Keys, and today I'm going to be doing the first video for a little series that I'm going to start doing for basic tech tasks and basic tasks with computers on a more technical side that a lot of people probably don't know how to do, but may want to know how to do. And then later on in the future I'll probably get more into some more advanced topics and things like that. We'll see where it goes, but I'm going to start out with some simple stuff. So I thought that I would start out with installing Windows 8.1, the latest and greatest of the Windows operating systems. Take greatest with a grain of salt. And you might ask, well, Keys, why would you want to do a video? So many people have already done this. I'm going to go a little more in depth into the actual setup and a lot of the different options, and then I'm also going to emphasize how to install 8.1, skipping a lot of the Microsoft bullshit that has been baked into this operating system and that I hope we see go away in Windows 10. And a lot of people, when you see what I mean by bullshit, you might hate me a little bit, but I believe that there are a lot of things that could be made a lot easier, and I'm going to show you how to basically get 8.1 set up and running so that you can just pick up and go. And I'll show you a couple things around the operating system and everything. And then next video we'll be talking a little bit about, well, I'll tell you at the end of the video what we'll talk about next week or next video, whenever I get around to it. So let's jump right into it, and we'll go over here to the desktop. Here I am using some software called VM VirtualBox. This basically is going to simulate a computer for me within my computer, and I might do a video on virtualization freeware in the future and what it might be useful for. This is a free software as opposed to something like VMware, which I do not have. This is a VM client for something else I've been doing for school. But, okay, so let's jump right into it. Basically, what you're going to need is you're going to need the Windows 8.1 or Windows 8 installation media. And what this means is you're going to walk on out to the store, or you're going to get online, and you're going to purchase either a download or a CD. Now, when I say purchase, you can acquire the actual installation media, the ISO, the .iso, that disk image to install Windows 8 for free. That's not illegal, but you will have no way to activate it, because unlike Windows 7, which gave you 30 days to activate it, and you had full use of the operating system until you did, Windows 8 asks for a key on the spot during installation, which is an interesting move for Microsoft, and we'll talk more about that when we get to it. However, okay, if you buy it in the box, you're going to get a little key that looks like this. I'm not going to turn it around because that is my key. You're going to get a key like that. That's going to activate Windows for you. It is a 25-character key in numbers and letters, sets of 5. And that is what is going to activate Windows for you. If you're purchasing it online as a download, you will get an email with that key in it, and you will get a link to download the installation media to burn to a disk. So once you have the installation media, you either are going to pick up your handy-dandy booklet of, many CDs, and you're going to burn yourself one and promptly label it Windows 8.1. Or you're going to just open your case, and you're going to pick either the 64 or 32-bit CD, depending on your processor. Look that up. To see, look up your processor to see if it's 32 or 64. Most are 64 these days, but you want to make sure you get the right one. If you don't put in the right one, it just doesn't work. Well, you could install 32-bit on a 64-bit operating system, or a 64-bit processor, I should say. You're just going to be limiting yourself to how much memory you can use. So we're going to jump right into it. Basically, when I hit start here, I have already, this is going to be me simulating powering up the machine. I already have my virtual disk in the virtual DVD drive. What you will be doing if you have a blank computer with nothing on the hard drive, you will put the Windows 8.1 disk in, boom, start it up. Unless in your BIOS, your basic input-output system, your DVD drive is completely just turned off from being read, it should just go straight to it and say, hey, let's boot from this CD, and we will begin the installation. Otherwise, if you have an operating system already on your PC, you may have to mash F10, F12, F11. I've seen it be F2. I've seen it hold Shift and hit F2. I've seen a whole bunch of different things. Look up your model of computer and figure out how to get into the BIOS. Then go to the boot section and change the boot order so that your DVD drive is at the top or it is enabled, and then restart your computer. Or if you can go directly to a boot menu, it'll show you all of the devices connected to your computer which you might be able to boot from. You can go down to DVD drive and hit go. Same story if you're doing this from a flash drive. We might do another video later on how to create bootable flash drives using an easy free tool or something. So when I click start here, we are going to get, boom, Windows, the virtual machine is going to start up here, and we get our nice little Windows 8 splash screen that you will see on your screen as soon as you begin the installation process. This has replaced down here where the little bar used to come across and say Windows is loading, or yeah, Windows is loading, loading Windows, or something like that. Now you just get this and the absolutely completely frackin' retarded spinning balls of death that kind of mock Apple's little version of the time clock that I miss. But anyways, and more to why that's stupid later. You'll get to this right here. It'll say Windows 8 install language. You've got English to pick from, and time and currency format. You'll want to set those appropriately, and then your keyboard layout. Usually the default is okay from wherever you bought it. If you buy it in a different country, it will be set up for those defaults. So you're going to go ahead and click next, and you will see install now and repair your computer. Repairing your computer is very important to remember. We will get to that later, maybe in another video, or I'll kind of mention repair options at the end of this installation video. But for now, you're going to click install now. And then it's going to tell you Windows setup is starting. We're going to wait for a second. Okie dokie. And with this particular ISO that I got, someone has modified this ISO so that there are some pre-activated ones on there. I do not approve of, officially, I do not approve of using pre-activated software, so we will be using the actual clean image that is available here. I did not have my original 8.1 disc laying around, so I had to kind of resort to just finding it on the net. But what I will mention is finding the installation media itself is not illegal. Installing and using a activated operating system without the ownership of a purchased key that is your property, that is illegal. I do not encourage that at all, and that is just something we will not ever be going over. So if you're into, you know, tech videos and things for free operating systems and all that, we're not going into it. So basically, here is Windows 8.1, and we are going to go ahead and click next. You're going to get the Microsoft Software License Agreement, and a lot of people are going to go, yeah, okay, and click next. What I will encourage you to do, and maybe not particularly with Windows, but when you are installing software that you may not be too familiar with, please do go and read the ELUA and your agreement that you have with this company for that software that you have purchased, because you want to know all of the terms and conditions. This is especially important with free software, understanding what your rights are with the software. So you're going to go ahead and click I accept the license terms and agreements if you wish to proceed, otherwise you cannot. You're going to click next, and then you're going to get either upgrade or custom. Upgrading, this is going to, if you already have Windows 7 installed, and I'm not sure if Vista was included in this. I know XP was not, to my knowledge, but Upgrade is going to go ahead and keep everything that was installed in your previous installation of Windows, whether that be a previous version or Windows 8, is going to keep your files and settings, things like that, and it's going to move you up and upgrade you to the next operating system. Custom, and they say this is advanced. It's really not advanced. It's really just going to wipe your fucking computer and go. This is going to install Windows only. It is going to wipe the hard drive. So we're going to click on advanced because we're all pretty smart around here, right? And you're going to see every hard drive that is in this computer. In this case, I have a virtual machine, and I have only allocated to this machine 25 gigs of hard drive space because it doesn't need more than that, and I don't want to bog down my hard drive with, you know, more crap that I'm just going to delete later. So 25 gigs is what I've allocated. Yours will most likely say 500. 500 gigs is standard in almost every laptop and desktop that you buy off the shelf today, if it is not a 750 gig or a 1 terabyte 1024 gig hard drive. So you'll go ahead and select the hard drive you want to install the operating system on. I highly, highly encourage that if you have multiple hard drives in a computer and you are wanting to install the operating system to a particular drive, remove the drives that have other data on them that you do not want to wipe. The last thing you want to do is click on the wrong drive and completely wipe the thing. So down here we have some options. Refresh is just going to basically reload this page or this window and look again for the drives. So literally I could open up the machine, pop another drive in, hit refresh, and it might find that other drive. There might be some issues. I'm not sure. It's not something I really encourage doing. You have load driver, which you really don't need to worry about if you are seeing a hard drive here, and your new down here is going to help you create what's called a partition. So basically, if you wanted to take this much hard drive space and cut it in the middle so you only have this much hard drive space, this much hard drive space that you cut will get treated as if, by the software, it will be treated as if it's a separate hard drive. And you will see two hard drives once you get Windows installed. So you will have the partition with Windows installed, your C drive, and then you will see another hard drive. Physically, they're the same drive. For our purposes and keeping it simple, we are simply going to hit next with this highlighted. Now, we're going to go through the long and very painful process of waiting for all of the installation media to copy itself onto the drive where it needs to be so that it can then start to unpack and get installed and everything. So we're just going to kind of let this go for a second. What I will kind of talk about for just a second while we're waiting for the actual installation to complete is some of the changes that we saw from 7 to 8, even though this is old news. I'm going to talk about a couple things specifically, and then what we're looking forward to in the future with Windows 10, and why you probably will not have to worry about buying a new operating system if you own 8 already, or possibly 7. So in Windows 7, you had your nice little start button in the corner down here, and you had your taskbar and all your icons, and it was a desktop-oriented operating system. It was essentially all of this right here. I'm just gonna get VMware out of here. So it was essentially all of this right here. When you clicked on this, a little box popped up, and you saw all of your programs and files and everything. And you know what? That was just fine and dandy. But I'll tell you what, the biggest difference in Windows 8 is really not that anything has changed. It's that, it's mainly that, let me see here, I'm having a little bit of difficulty switching scenes. There we go. It's really that, where you get to things and when you get there has been changed. So in Windows 8, instead of landing on the desktop and that being the main environment that they were pushing, they started to push the Metro, or the now that they've renamed it, the modern start screen, which is basically a bunch of tiles and everything. And essentially the way I explain it to customers when they come to me and they're looking to purchase Windows 8 and they want to know the difference, I work for a Fortune 500, right, as of right now, I work for a Fortune 500 retail company, as the lead tech in their department where they service computers. And what I tell people is that, the big difference between 7 and 8 is this. In Windows 7, you had your start screen pop out in a box. In Windows 8, they have replaced the start screen with, well, not replaced the start screen. I say that they've taken the start screen, it's no longer a box. They basically said, hey, start screen, we're going to do a whole lot more with you and give you your own screen. And that is the biggest change. That is really all that matters when it comes down to the big differences. Everything else is, oh, how do I get to my settings? That's different. How do I get to this and that? And you know what? Yeah, that is really frustrating if you just want to sit down and go. But honestly, if you give it, if you have a brain and you give it a couple hours, you're gonna understand it, and it's gonna be pretty damn easy. The other thing that's going on in Windows 8 is that they integrated the Windows 8 apps, or applications. They're apps. Everything is apps now. I hate the term apps, absolutely, because it's, everything is an application. All software is technically an application. By definition, it has a function and it runs. That is all an that is all an application is. And so I absolutely despise the term, app on your phone. I absolutely despise that has been moved to the desktop. Anyways, so they call them apps. It's software. It's software. It'll always be software to me. But basically, they've integrated the Windows 8 apps, this new thing, and really all the Windows 8 apps is they're programs that are heavily integrated with the start screen. In Windows 8 and 8.1, they spin out full screen and cover the whole screen, and they are very streamlined and simplified and have one goddamn purpose, and that is mail, or your contacts, or there's a cooking app, there's the Windows App Store. It's essentially what you get on a phone. They wanted to bring that kind of software idealism to the desktop environment so that they could, streamline things for customers, make things easier for customers to get into and start using. Now, have they been successful? I've got my 3 close friends running Windows 8. There is a software maintenance. I have a software maintenance friend. He used to do back-end server repair and maintenance for a company. I have a networking and troubleshooting technician friend, and I have a friend who's going for a programming degree, and he is very, very well versed in most areas of technology, especially Microsoft. He's a huge Microsoft fanboy, and I hate the word fanboy, but it's kind of what it is. but I'm proud of him for it because it's not as obnoxious as the Apple fanboyism or whatever. Nothing against Macintosh. But of those three friends, the only one who really uses the Windows 8 apps in the start screen is the Microsoft fanboy. Myself, as a Windows guy, someone who is really just now stepping into the Linux universe and really getting to know and understand that, and me being someone who is a troubleshooter and someone studying for a degree in information security, I don't use it. My friend who is a hardcore software guy doesn't use them. And my friend who is a networking technician doesn't use them. So the sysadmin, the software developer, and the Microsoft fanboy, who is, I won't label him Microsoft fanboy and give my other friends those titles. He is just as well versed in most of those topics as I am or anyone else is that I know. But because he's a huge Microsoft fan, he's really the only one that I know that actually uses them. I've seen some customers come into my store for service and everything, or they're looking to pick up something else, or anyways, they bring in their computer, I'm looking at it, and they actually, some of them use those Windows 8 apps, but what I will say is that those people don't tend to be so technologically inclined. Now, it's not to say there's anything bad about them, it's just to say that if you're using a desktop computer, typically, most of the time, you're not looking for the streamlined simplicity and, looking for a good word for it, but you're not typically looking for that kind of streamlined productivity that is extremely limiting, as opposed to when you're working on a phone. Because when you're working on a phone, your applications, your software on your phone needs to have just needs to have one purpose per app. Needs to do those maybe 1 to 5 different things and needs to do them well, and that's it. When you're in a desktop environment, typically the software we're looking at is word processors that can do so much now. We're looking at, the other things in the Microsoft Office family, such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Access, Visio, Publisher, on and on. Those are all very, very useful pieces of software, and they can do a billion things. Or you're looking at a browser that you can add extensions to and get it to do special things, and you can customize it, because desktop environments, now take it with a grain of salt, the levels of customization vary here and there when it comes to whether you're using a Unix or Linux based environment, a Windows environment, or I don't know, something from IBM. But there's some level of customization there. But with these Windows 8 applications, that software literally doesn't have too much customization at all. It's really just, this app has a purpose, that's it. I am keeping an eye on the installation for you guys. I'm watching over here. We're at 88% on the second one, called Getting Files Ready for Installation. We're 88% done. So that should be done, wrapping up here in a second. Then we will be installing features. It will install updates, and then it will finish up. So that was one of the big changes to Windows 8, was we're integrating these apps now. Do people use them? I don't know. I don't. I'm guessing most people don't. I'm guessing most people set it up so they don't see that stupid Metro start screen that I kind of want to punch in the face. And they just go straight when they log into the desktop environment. That is what I have done. And that's really all I care about, is that desktop environment, to be quite honest with you. So, anyways, now I'm not bashing that touch environment completely or that Metro start screen environment, because There are a lot of useful applications for it. It can be really cool and helpful, and it is fantastic on a Windows 8 tablet. I own a Windows 8 tablet, and it really is nice in that environment. Now we're going to go ahead and switch back on over to the desktop here, because looks like our installation has completed. So we're going to go ahead and, whoops, there we go. It has restarted. So it has gone through that list of installation things. As you saw, that took maybe about 5 minutes of me ranting, or 10. I don't know, we'll look at the video later. But it's going to go ahead and it's going to do its little spinny thing now. And what I like about the Windows 8 installation is it feels very clean, it feels very professional, very simple. But what I like about some other operating systems out there and other software is that I actually really do get to see the progress. Everything is represented by a percentage, by a goal, and that 100% goal is what I want to see, and I want to see that. I'll rant here in a little bit about the Windows 8 progress bars inside of the settings application, which is something that's weird. But we won't. I'll try not to rant too much. I do want to go over the main differences between 7 and 8, and then how to skip some of the bullshit after you get this all set up. But I don't want to make this video about bashing 8, because let me make very clear that I love Microsoft for the most part. I have disagreed with some things they've done, but overall, it is right now the biggest platform for PC gamers and for productivity, and they do have their grasp on most enterprise environments. Some people will argue with me when it comes over when you get into servers and huge enterprise environments, but for the most part, Windows 8 or Windows in general has the biggest share of the market as far as that cash money flow goes. So now here is the moment of truth. If I can get my product key to work here again, I had some trouble with the first time for some reason. I'm going to go ahead and pull this over to the other screen for you guys, and let me give you a little tunnel effect here so that you can look at that and be mesmerized by that. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to get your product key that you either received in an email or that you acquired from the box, the beautiful, beautiful box. And I wish I still had my box, because I would love to show you the Windows 8 packaging, because it is, like everything Microsoft puts into a box, absolutely beautiful. And let's see here, let's see if it works. Yay, it worked. Okay, so I'm going to get this out of here because that's probably obnoxious. As soon as you put it in that product key, it will either accept it or decline it, and it will bring you to the next screen, which will be the personalized screen. Here's where you get to pick a color. This is like picking out, color swashes or swabs or whatever you call them at like a improvement store. Here's what I'll tell you right now. I believe it was this blue right here was the default, I believe. Anyways, blue, Windows, generally what you're used to seeing as, backgrounds and things like that. Always has been. If you pick something like this, that's a little weird. I can understand it though. If you pick something like that, you are the person who griped about getting dark mode on absolutely every application you ever downloaded. I love you. I'm that person too. And then you've got your yellow right here, which is absolutely obnoxious. So enough about colors. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to pick that one because it's absolutely beautiful. You're going to give your PC a name. And so we're going to go with Test Win 8.1. And you'll notice that when I type point, or I type a special character listed down here, it's going to tell me that you cannot use that. And the reason for that is that if you were allowed to name your PC something with special characters in it, you could use all the special characters, you could name your PC something crazy. That creates a lot of confusion in network environments, or no, just no. So we're not going to do that. It also, I'm sure, creates some other problems that I can't think of at the moment. Once you click next, you're going to get a settings screen. You're going to get express settings right here, and it says, we recommend these settings, which include occasionally sending info to Microsoft. You can customize these settings now or later. And basically this is just the defaults. Really, so you can use express settings. It's going to do what it says here. If you go into customize, it's going to ask you some questions. You've connected to a network. If your PC is plugged into with an Ethernet cable, has Wi-Fi, whatever. I believe one of the things, if you have a wireless device, that it will ask you to do upon installation is it'll ask you to connect to a network. You'll have to input the key to the Wi-Fi that the Wi-Fi network you're trying to connect to in order to get connected. Mine is attached through the network that I am on. So I'm going to say no, because I really don't need this virtual machine to connect or see the other devices on my network. And say Windows updates. Highly recommended, automatically install important, and recommended updates. Choose that choice and nothing else. Mark my words. Automatically get device drivers and apps. You want that on for new devices. Automatically update my apps. You probably want that on. Updates are never bad, people, except when the update then breaks something and you can't do what you're normally used to doing, but that happens only once in a while. Generally, updates mean security, security updates, bugs are being fixed, things are going to work better than they did, all that great awesome stuff. So, and then help protect your PC and your privacy. Use Smart Screen online services to help protect against malicious content in sites loaded by Windows Store apps and Internet Explorer and malicious downloads. This is nice. This is a security feature that is kind of in the vein of Vista in being kind of in your face about security, but unlike Vista, not in your face all the time or asking you questions all the time. This will literally, in an intelligent manner, detect when something is going to either change settings or feed your computer code that could be potentially malicious and you don't want running, and it's going to let you know. And if you don't know what it is, or you wise up and you suddenly realize, hey, yeah, I shouldn't do that, it does look kind of shady, you can click no, or you can click yes if you do know what you're doing and what you're installing or downloading. Send a do not track request to websites I visit in Internet Explorer. That is a nice privacy feature and a little bit of a change on Microsoft's part, because they are big into the tracking on their sites. They're all about them cookies and all about logging and everything. Even the Windows test preview, there's an actual full-blown keylogger for everything that you type. And not even you don't even have to click enter. Anything you type into it when you're doing updates and it syncs with Microsoft servers, it's seeing everything you do. Now, if you're in the test preview for Windows 10, you've agreed to this. Don't put on your tinfoil hat as some other YouTubers might, and go crazy with that idea. That keylogger is not gonna make it to the final release. There's no way, because no enterprise environment is going to want keyloggers all over the place, because that is a security flaw or a security measure that could be exploited. So we're going to go ahead and leave everything as they are. You want Windows to check for errors automatically, compatibility lists to improve your experience on some sites. This is all of the preset, express options. It's already set for what was preset. So here is some other security things you might want to look at. Using Bing to get search suggestions and web results in Windows Search. I let Microsoft use my search history, location, and some other account information to personalize my experiences. If you're really paranoid or you really want to stay off the grid, you can turn this off. Otherwise, this is honestly just going to improve your user experience, as will all of these. These are all very, very similar questions for different Windows-based applications. Go ahead and click Next, and now we're going to set up our account. And when I said Windows bullshit, here is where it begins. This was something that a lot of people got irritated about, and not because they did it, but because of the way they implemented it, and it bugged me slightly. It says sign into your Microsoft account. Sign in to easily get your online email, photos, files, and settings, like browser history and favorites on all of your devices. And you can sync all of your computers, and they can all have all of the same content, and holy shit. But really, what this says when they present it in this way, to me, what this says is, we don't, let me rephrase this. What it says is, we want to push our service. We've got to push your Microsoft account. Microsoft account. Fuck yeah. Microsoft. It's no longer this, just fucking install Windows and go. They've got to slap their big Microsoft account dick in your face and try to get you to sign up. Now, this wouldn't be irritating if you had two boxes next to each other. One said, would you like to sign in with a Microsoft account? Here are the benefits. Would you like to sign in with a local account? Here are those benefits. That would be just fine and dandy, but what they do here is they say, sign in with your Microsoft account. That's all, folks. Now, that's not your only option. It says, don't have an account? Create a new account. And when you hear that question and that answer, what you initially think of when you're first installing Windows is, wow, I'm going to have to make an email account. I'm being forced into this. And, when I did not understand Windows 8, when I was part of the test preview and they first implemented this for Windows 8, when it was in the consumer preview, I got pissed at this until I clicked on the Create New Account button, because I did not have a Microsoft account at the time. I clicked on Create New Account, and I saw down here at the bottom, sign in without a Microsoft account. They hide it. They really want to push you creating a Microsoft account. So when you click Create a New Account, it goes first name, last name, email address, create a password, country and region. Boom, we just made your account. Fuck yeah, we're done. But for our purposes here, we're going to sign in without a Microsoft account. If you do sign in with a Microsoft account, it is quite nice. I eventually linked mine because I did start using at Outlook or at Live. I did start using their email service, and it's quite nice to have OneDrive, or what used to be called SkyDrive, now integrated into your My Places or your Windows Explorer folders, your directories there. Just like Google Docs is when you install Google Docs on a desktop. So here we're going to do, well, let's see, we could do me, but we're going to say Doodleman McGee. And then you're going to create a password. I'm not going to get into passwords. Mine are bullshit, and everybody makes fun of me for it, because I do crazy long-ass passwords with uppercase letters, lowercase letters, special characters, and even occasionally one of the special ASCII characters, which isn't actually on the keyboard unless you have a special keyboard. You have to type a shortcut or use a command to get it, basically. So we're not going to put a password on our machine. If you do, you have to put in a password hint, and then I highly, highly recommend that if you are not a very experienced user, that you get a USB flash drive and you go through the process of creating what is called a password recovery disk. Now, if you've ever tried to reset a password before and you've seen this option in like Windows 7, reset your password with a reset disk. You need a storage medium like a flash drive or CD, and you get one. I've seen customers go out and buy one, and I have to tell them, that's not how it works. You had to have had it and already set it up from the beginning, because all it does is store your password on the storage medium and save your ass if you can't log in. Go through that process if you set up a password and you're not a very experienced user. So you're going to go ahead and click Finish. It's going to go through this process of finalizing your settings, and here is the other annoying Windows 8 thing that happens. We're setting things up for you. Wait for it. You can get new apps from the store. By the way, we're installing your apps right now. So here's a color screen. It changes color. You know what? Microsoft, it's pretty. It's cool. I don't hate it, but it's too goddamn easy to make fun of. If I want a color changing screen, or if I want pretty lights, I'll go hook up some LEDs, and I will turn on those LEDs, and I will just make them jump colors all day long. So, there's that. I'm just being facetious and a bit of an ass. Really, it's whatever. So while this is installing, I guess I will talk to you a little bit about what you're gonna get when you first get out of this process. And what you're gonna get is that new start screen, that new start menu that we talked about, the Metro, or whoa, hold up, not the Metro start screen. It is the modern start screen, because they called it Metro, and everybody got peeved about that. Or actually, it wasn't that everybody got mad about the name, it was that everybody hated it so much that when they moved to 8.1 and they changed some things, like adding the start button that would just take you back to the that big start screen. When they made those changes, they wanted to rename it because Metro had gained such a bad vibe. So, and yeah, that was, so a few of the differences between 8 and 8.1 were really just functionality, where things are at, and really not too much of that. Really it was, hey, here's your start button back, because Windows without a start button looked fucking weird. And when you click on it, ha! Joke's on you, you don't get a start menu. You get a start screen. And I hate that I am so used to saying start screen that I almost said it when I meant to say start menu. Windows 10, everybody. The preview's been great so far. You'll get your menu back. So anyways, we're going to switch back over here to the desktop. This is what you get when you first log in. It is very simplistic. You get a nice, cool little Microsoft background, and you get down here in the corner this little build number. It says Windows 8.1 build 9600, because while our key did take during installation, this particular instance of Windows has not yet reached out to the KMS activation process that happens on a Microsoft server to verify that this is a legitimate installation. So it shows up this little build number in the bottom corner of the screen over there until that is done, and that's how you know that Windows is activated. That will eventually just disappear. It might hang around after it's activated for a little while, but generally after a restart, bam, gone. So you notice a couple things at 8.1 here. You've got the ever-beloved, super fast, crazy efficient, #1, top-of-the-line in security, never crashing, never sending an error report to Microsoft, Windows, Internet Explorer. Windows' trademark. It's bad trademark. Anyways, you get Windows Explorer. I highly recommend that first thing you go do is download Firefox. Simply because, yeah, Google Chrome's cool, but Mozilla's a cooler company. They're just awesome. They do awesome stuff. So you have your recycling bin up in the corner and all that. So this looks like Windows 7. And I spoke too soon when I said it gives you that the start screen here. But when you do go to the start screen, you will see here are all those apps. And here's what you can do. If you have an installation menu that's a little older and you do on login start going to this start screen every time, here's how you fix that. You're going to go down to the taskbar, you're going to right click on it, you're going to go into its properties, and then in properties there is a tab called navigation. Inside of navigation there's a section called start screen, and you can check when I sign in or close all apps on a screen, go to the desktop instead of start. And this was a very smart move in the 8 to 8.1 change that Microsoft added, because everybody absolutely hated that Metro interface, that modern interface, because like, how many people seriously have a fucking touch screen at their desktop, for crying out loud? And how many people are really moving to these all-in-one and convertible devices? I mean, yeah, it's caught on now, and it is a big deal, and more people are buying them, but it is not predominant. It is not what needs to be the focus yet. So anyways, you can check that box. There's some other cool options in here, but really what you want to do is you want to go into your start screen. And another cool thing to remember about Windows 8 is that you can start typing from the start screen without clicking on that little search icon in the corner, and it will just start searching for you. So you can start typing Defender, and you will see a really cool feature built into Windows 8. It is the Windows Defender program, and you will see that this cannot be uninstalled from the start screen or from the control panel. It is baked into the operating system and actually has a higher level of permission than any previous version of Security Essentials from Microsoft or anything like that. So it really becomes the end-all say-all when it comes to removing a virus. When it comes to detection now, not so much. Other videos on that. But anyways, what you'll want to do is you'll want to say open. You'll want to make sure this is turned on. This will update on its own and everything. And really, this is all there is to installing Windows 8.1. The only last piece of housekeeping that I will go over is that when you left-click on the Start button, you will get your Start screen. When you click on it again, it'll take you back to the previous place you were at. If you right-click on it, you will get a little menu, and this has some shortcuts to some awesome administrative tools. What I would highly recommend is that you go ahead and go into either your control panel right here, and you search for updates, and you start running Windows updates so that you are up to date. Or I would highly recommend that you do the simple way, if you want to do it through control panel because you're used to control panel in XP, Vista, 7, and you've seen its progression, by all means use control panel. I warn you though, it is looking like, from what I've seen inside of the test preview in some of these files and documents and in the configuration files, it looks like everything from control panel is going to be migrating to the settings app, which is going to look like this. And that is going to be how you get to everything and how you use everything. Another cool thing about Windows 8, it's going to show you give you some little pointers for the next couple reboots. Or I believe the first, until you reboot it the first time. I may be wrong. So yeah, here we have Activate Windows. this product key is being used on another PC. Please try a different key. See, I use the key that I'm actually using, so yeah. So it's not active, but I've got a free key for 30 days. Ain't I cool? So what I will say though is if you don't want to mess around with the control panel and you are not used to the Windows environment, what I will tell you is from that start screen, that is where you will find anything. For example, update, Windows Update settings, check for Windows updates. That will check using the settings app. Windows Update will check using control panel in the desktop in a window. That's what I prefer, that's what I use. But you can use this to search for anything, and the last thing I will leave you with is that you can simply type help. You will get the help and tips application, and this is going to show you starting apps, getting around, basic actions, and all this other stuff, and it's going to show you these things with little click and touch animations, as well as give you a little bit of information to read. And this is going to be your main go-to resource when learning how to use Windows 8.1. So there you go. That is basically how you install Windows 8.1 and skip as much of the BS as possible, or minimize it at least. The main things being, if you're using an older installation media and you have to update to 8.1, you will be getting that start screen when you log in instead of the desktop, so I showed you how to change that. We went over where a lot of those security settings are, why, during the setup process, why you may want to create a different partition, why you may not, and then we also went over some of the other little kinks and differences between 8 and a lot of other operating systems. I hope that even though 8.1 has been out for a while, you found this at least a little bit helpful, and I will be back with another video. Next time I do a video, I will be talking about the different kinds of antivirus softwares and anti-malware programs, what they do, what you want to pick, and if you're going to be okay with settling for a free one, or if you're actually going to be the kind of user that should probably be paying for one so you just don't have to bother with it. And then we'll also be talking some internet best practices, safety tips, and things like that. And we'll also dive really under the hood and deep into configuring Windows settings, some different applications you might use as settings, and basically getting under the hood to really configure everything to work properly with each other, so you are avoiding exploits and avoiding the painful penetration of viruses and other exploits. So until next time, I am, of course, as always, Lieutenant Commander Keys, LCDR Keys. Like it if you liked it, disliked it if you hated my fucking guts, and leave an angry comment for me. I read all of them. I cry every night, so please break out your fingers and just let it roll. Let it roll. I get off on nasty YouTube comments. Bring it on, baby. See you guys later. Stay in touch, and until next time.